Hello and welcome to another episode. Today I'm doing a continuance of the United States state flags. First episode was kind of long. It was on the first 13 colonies, which became my first 13 states. Um, so I figured I would continue with states 14 through 20. Starting from here, I'm going to go based on how they've entered the Union. So literally 14th state in, 15th, 16th. So that being said, if you do want to check it out, you can go back and watch my original video on the first 13 colonies of the U.S. and a little short history about the U.S. Now, let's get right into it and talk about the state of Vermont, otherwise known as the Green Mountain State. And if you do wonder why I keep looking to the side, got my notes. But anyway, Vermont is known as the Green Mountain State, and its capital, modern-day capital, is in Montpelier, Vermont. And as far as the origin of the name Vermont, it's uncertain, but there's a couple of ideas. One is thought to be it's French for Les Vertes Monts, which roughly translating to the Green Mountains. Thus, it's the Green Mountain State, and that's what the French saw. So it was named Les Vertes Monts. The other idea of where its name came from is for the large amount of mica quartz chlorite, a greenish-hued, greenish-colored type of shell that's quite common in the area, given the mountainsides their distinctive color. As far as some topography, the actual Green Mountains run the length of the state of Vermont from north to south. So you have this small mountain chain running from north to south. And so, despite what you may expect, it's actually a quite mountainous, hilly region. It's almost dead smack in the center. And it's not a very populous state. According to the 2010 census, Burlington is the largest city or town, and its population is approximately 42,417. I mean, just over 40,000 is your largest town, and there are cities worldwide that have millions and millions. So it's not a hugely populous state. I mean, besides Burlington, the next largest city or town within the state has under 20,000 people. But it's got to be beautiful with the Green Mountains. I know I love living here in the Appalachians, so I can only imagine living there. It was formed from parts of New Hampshire and New York, and became the 14th state of the United States in March of 1791. Now, let's talk about the flag a bit. Excuse me. Now, on the flag, you have, it's a blue background. Um, at the top, you have the head of the stag, and along the bottom, you have a banner, Freedom, Vermont, and Unity. Along the side, you have a couple branches, and in the middle, you have the little seal or insignia. Well, not quite the seal, but the little insignia there. In which you have a tree on one side, 3 bales of hay, and on the other side, a cow. And on the background, you see these bushes and mountains to give you kind of an idea of how Vermont existed back in the day. So that gives some information on Vermont. Our next state is the Bluegrass State, Kentucky. Modern day capitals in Frankfort. You've got larger cities like Louisville and Lexington. It did become the 15th state of the United States in June of 1792. And it was formed by part of Virginia. And is the home of the modern Kentucky Derby. There's quite a name in Kentucky of raising horses and good alcohol. It's a very down-home feeling place. I've been to Kentucky many times, so. Let's see. Now the flag. It is the 4th of our 4 Commonwealths. The other 3 I described in the first video, which were Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, and Virginia. And along the top it says Commonwealth of Kentucky on a blue background. Along the bottom it has these, I guess, twigs or leaves, or I guess a little wreath of flowers and leaves. It's the best way to kind of state it. But in the insignia in the middle, you have 2 men shaking hands. Each has a hand on the other's shoulder while they shake hands. And it says, "United we stand, divided we fall." So it's a very hope-giving type of decoration. And that gives us Kentucky. Next up, we have the state of Tennessee. Tennessee was quite famous, as well as Kentucky, for Cherokee. The Cherokee tribe were all throughout parts of North Carolina and Virginia and Tennessee and Kentucky. They were quite big and widespread. In fact, you'll catch a lot of people often in this area here citing that they have Native American blood, most likely Cherokee. And some do. You can't verify all the claims, though. So, in fact, to be honest with you, When I was a young child, my first memory of seeing a minority was of Native Americans than it was of African Americans. Just because the town I lived in was so white. Honestly, there was no African Americans in school. It was strange. Um, but anyway, Tennessee is known as the volunteer state, thus the name Tennessee Volunteers for their college. Modern day capital is in Nashville. It became the 16th state of the United States in June of 1796. Um, and was formed from North Carolina. As I mentioned last video, it does have a tale where it tried to form its own state in northeast Tennessee called the state of Franklin. That's before the state of Tennessee was founded, but it did try to form its own state. Uh, so yeah, it's just kind of a something to be aware of. But anyway, the Tennessee state flag is quite simple. You have a red background, and on the right-hand side, you have a little blue border, just a little strip of blue. Meanwhile, in the center, you have a circle with 3 stars inside of it. That's about it. That's all the Tennessee flag is. Very simple compared to some of the other flags. I don't know the real meaning of the stars, but if you do want to know, leave a comment. I'm willing to look that answer up and try to figure that out for you. But that is Tennessee. Now, on to Ohio, which is known as the Buckeye State. Its modern-day capital is in Columbus, and it became the 17th state of the United States in March of 1803. In the area, there were quite a few number of Sioux and Iroquois and Wyandot peoples. Now, something interesting about Ohio, it wasn't officially admitted as a state, but that mistake was discovered in 1953, and officially they were retroactively admitted as the 17th state with their birth year in 1803. Kind of an interesting little story there. Now, their flag is a unique one. It's not a square or a rectangle like most others. You have 5 stripes going down it, red and white, 3 red, 2 white. And in the side, you have a blue triangle with 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So, yeah. With Ohio, that makes 18 stars, 18 states. And with the 18 stars on it, it's signifying I cannot talk. I apologize. It's signifying its spot as 17 states and then one for the United States. So that's interesting. And then that triangle banner on the left-hand side, that blue triangle banner, amongst those stars you have a white circle with a red dot in the middle. So that is the Ohio state flag and gives us some indication of what it looks like. Now, the next state I'm wanting to talk about is Louisiana. It's known as the Pelican State. Its modern-day capital is in Baton Rouge. And its flag is pretty simple. It's a blue background. Along the bottom you have a banner that says Union, Justice, Confidence. And above that, in a nest, you have a mother pelican with her wings spread. And it looks like she's trying to feed her hatchlings. Now, you see 3 drops of blood. I don't know the significance of that. Again, I would have to look it up to double check. But that's the state flag of Louisiana, if you wanted to know what it looks like. Whoa. It was admitted in April of 1812 as the 18th state. It's very multicultural, of course, having the massive port of New Orleans, French, Native American, Spanish, Africans, and even Haitians. Were common to live there, and their influence on society is still felt to this day. And of course, being Louisiana, it's part of the Louisiana Purchase, which was French territory. That was purchased by the U.S. under President Thomas Jefferson. So, Louisiana. Next state I'm going to talk about is the state of Indiana. The Hoosier State. Hoosier State. I apologize, Indiana. Modern day capital is in Indianapolis. In December of 1816, it became the 19th state. In the land before it was settled, it had Native American peoples like the Shawnee, the Miami, the Illinois, all kind of under the Algonquian banner. And language there, so. And if you've ever wanted to know what a Hoosier is, it was defined as someone from the upland South, specifically in the areas of Virginia, the Carolinas, or Tennessee, and kind of just a name for backwoodsman, or a rough countryman, or country bumpkin. It's that kind of idea. So, the very plain country person. That's what a Hoosier is. Now, the state of Indiana. On its flag, it's a blue flag. On the outside, you have the 13 original states, stars for those, that it's meant to represent the 13 original states. You have the 5 states before it, down along the bottom there. So that gives you 18 states. And with Indiana at the top, you have a really big star, which represents the state of Indiana, thus giving you 19 states, or 19 stars. And behind all that, you have a torch with its rays shining out. So that is the state of Indiana. Now, lastly, state number 20. It is the Magnolia State, Mississippi. Mississippi's modern-day capital is in Jackson, and it became the 20th state in December of 1817. The native peoples before it was really settled that lived there were the Chickasaw, the Choctaw, the Natchez, the Yazoo, and the Biloxi, or Biloxi. I'm not sure. Again, my apologies if I do butcher the name. All territories east of the Mississippi River, including modern Mississippi, were ceded to Britain after the 7 Years' War, or the French and Indian War, thus extending us from the Appalachians out to the Mississippi River. So that's how things kind of happened there. As far as the flag, you have 3 stripes: blue at the top, white in the middle, and red at the bottom. Now, in the corner, you have a rebel flag. Obviously, this was probably changed from what the original flag was, but this is what the modern day flag looks like. Because we know the South, the division hadn't yet occurred. And so you had the rebel flag, which means it was probably around the time of the Civil War that this flag was created. So just a note on that. But that is our discussion of the modern day flags. Now, remember, educate thyself. Read, study, learn. Books, new languages, everything is useful. Always take that in. It's good for us to know more. An uneducated populace is a very weak populace, to be honest with you. So always educate yourself. Have that power in you. And with that, I do want to say that sources will be in the description below the video. I do want to thank you for watching. You all have a good rest of the evening enjoy. And I'll see you all next time. Later.